Every situation, every experience in life is either to help us get stronger, better, or we just give in. You know the saying that says, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Or at least you learn from it. You become more experienced. You see, when I was growing up, while I was growing up, I had this belief that the older you get, the more wisdom you have. That's always been my perception, especially from where I grew up. Like every older person is very knowledgeable about something. They have wisdom. They've made so much mistakes, they learn from the mistakes. So every advice they give you is the best advice for you. But now I've learned that wisdom doesn't come with age. Wisdom doesn't come with age. The only thing that comes with age is experience. If you failed 1,000 times, you have those experience of failures. You probably never do them again, but you have the experience of failures. So for every 100 miles you go, you get stronger. Then you could see another 200 miles. But if you never take that first 100 mile, you probably never see the other 200 miles clearer. So every situation you find yourself, you have the decision to make. Have I reached the end of my road? Is this it? Am I throwing it all in? Am I giving up? I'm never going to try this again. Or I have learned from this. But the thing is, the earlier you make the decision, the earlier you learn, the earlier you realize your mistake, then you can turn around. You can turn around and now follow the right path. We'll now contrast that with never actually taking a step. You actually never know if you're going right or wrong, if you're on the right path or the wrong path. You've never taken a step. Why? Because you don't want to make mistakes. You don't want to be criticized. You don't want to look stupid. But then every other person who you don't want to look stupid to, they're either in the same boat, trying to hold you down, trying to drag you down. You know the saying, crabs never want to be alone. They want company. Those at the bottom always want company. Why? Because they never want to see themselves just as the failure. So it's easier to hold you, it's easier to keep you than to allow you to advance, to try and fail. And failure to everyone is different. Some people see failure as, I'm never going to do it again. This is it. I'm a failure. But some people see it as a practicing short. As a practicing short. Was it Brady who says you miss 100% of the shots you never take? If you never try, you never know. If you never try, you never know. So keep going, regardless of the mistakes. It's better you refine your skills so you don't make more mistakes. You get to your destination faster. But you rather try. You better try, fail than never trying. Like when you leave this world, which we are going to do, we all have to pay the ultimate price of vacating this position. What will you say to yourself? I never tried. Would you rather live with the regret of never trying, or with the accomplishment of knowing I tried and failed and now I am here because I've learned from my experience? Most people speak to old people, which I do every time. Older people, retired people, the biggest failure they have or regret they have in their life is what they never tried, what they never did. Not everything you have done. Most things you did, but when you won and lost, you have done it. But most regret comes from not doing, not trying, not going the distance. There's another saying by most people, or was it by Emerson, that said most people give up not knowing they are one step closer to success. One step. They're like, that's it, I'm giving it. Not knowing that the next door, the next turn, that's where their success awaits them. Most people give in at that place, like I've done enough. And why do most people give in? Criticism. Most people are so influenced by other people never knowing that they go about defending an idea as if it's an original idea, not knowing this idea came from other people. Let me ask you something. Some of us are Christian, Muslim, different religion, and this most time, 90% of the time, it's never your choice. It's either you were born into it, your location, your geography, that you became what you are. But then you would defend that religion, you defend that decision, you defend whatever with your life, not knowing this was not even your idea. You were not even there when the decision was made. You were a byproduct of the decision just because of where you're born. So when we look back and say, a fall, it's not so bad from here. That's why you should say, a fall is not so bad from here. Why can't I keep going higher? Why can't I keep going further? Or why can't I start all over again? Just imagine this, you're on the motorway. You meant to be going south, but somehow you're sat nav. Because most of these days, we all just follow sat nav. We don't think for ourselves. And that's, someone said the other day, the more smarter phone we have, the more dumber we become, because we become reliant on other things. No, 90% of everyone now relies on sat nav to go from A to B. It's autonomous. They just get up, put a sat nav, and go. No one thinks about looking at road sign. Where do I go? We just follow. The other day, I was driving to a friend's place in Milton Keynes, and then there was a road. There was a road block because there was a construction on the road. Can you imagine? We kept on going for half an hour, round and round and round, just relying on the same sat nav that keeps taking us back to the same place. Why? Because we're so reliant on sat nav. It was after half an hour we said, no, we'll have to find a way. We go this way. If we get lost, we'll turn around and go somewhere else. That became progress. And do you know, before 5-10 minutes, we found our way on the right direction. Why? Because at that point we started thinking. Why? Because we spent half an hour giving our thoughts away to the sat nav. Our power was to the sat nav. He was in control. He directed us. And this is not even human. Then imagine the people around you, the influence around you. They said the problem these days is people don't think. People don't think. That's Nightingale. Nightingale says the problem these days is people don't think. And at that minute I realized that we don't think. I don't think. No one thinks. We just wake up, we do brush our teeth, eat, drink. We just repeat this thing. Then we think, or we believe we are thinking. We actually don't think. We just follow our routines. We have so much routines we don't even need to think anymore. And the problem is, like, those who go further, those who do something in life, those who become better are those who have a plan to think. They stretch their mind. In Cal Newport's book, So Good They Can't Ignore You, he was talking about a mathematician stretching their mind. When you stretch your mind, when you're trying to solve something that you haven't done before, that's when you actually start learning. That's when you actually start thinking. That's when your mind actually start expanding, by doing something, by putting pressure on yourself. But 90% of us go through life these days never actually getting to the point where we think, where we put pressure on our mind, where we stretch ourselves. So regardless of what life brings to you, the decision you make, it's yours, good or bad. We always have a decision to make. Now you can sit, run back to people, cry, salt, and enabler people who listen to your failures and how life has done you bad, how you picked yourself up again and again, and life has pushed you down, or how life has picked you out just specifically to punish you, or how things isn't working your way. But then there's only few people who are willing to listen, and after, when you turn up, people like, oh, that's that person again. Everyone start running away from you. So in life, I've realized there is two choices. There is two choice. Regardless of what happens to you, there is someone out there who's got a worse situation than you, and they've made something out of it. They haven't focused their time on complaining, because they say for every 5 minutes you complain, that's 5 minutes of your life you've lost. And as most people say, life is very short. So imagine someone who complains like 20 times a day. You're losing like an hour of your life every day just to complain, just to sit in a place, just to idle your mind. Most time, it's not about what happens to you, to us. It happens to everyone. It happens to everyone. It's not specifically you. We know in the eyes of God we're all special, but as a human being, we are not that. We're like every other person. We live on this moving planet, so whatever is happening to you is happening to the next person. If it rains on you today, it's probably raining on the next person next to you in the same place. So whatever you're going through, it's not personal to you. Don't take it personal. Just think about, how do I get myself out of this situation? How could I win? How could I live life on my own terms? How could I decide? How could I plan my life? How can I say, this is what I want for myself and I'm going to go for it? Most times, the thing we most fear about is not what happens to us. It's the fear of what's going to happen to you, the fear of our dreams, the fear of failures, the fear that we're going to be unable to live with this. That's what stops us. Most time when you take action, it's not as bad as you think, but the fear to take that action, that is the biggest thing. I was listening to Les Brown the other day, and he was saying the hardest thing he did in his life is going against the grain. The hardest thing he did in his life is taking action when everyone says it's not going to work. Why are you doing this? You're not qualified. You're not educated. That was the hardest thing, to go against all this and say, I'm going to do it. The mindset. Most time before we do something, we've already made the decision. Is it that we've made the decision to do or not to do? I tell you, it's not the action itself. It's not the step you take yourself. It's the decision you've made before you actually take a step. That's the hardest thing. Most people wake up and say, I'm going to go for a run. Regardless, they've made that decision. Regardless, they don't wait for favorable weather. They go. It's the decision they've made the night before. That's the difference between someone who says, well, when I wake up, I'll think about it. Everything that comes to us, it's not because of how we desire it. Of course, every single person desires good things. I've not seen a person in this world, in this universe, who you're going to say, all I desire is bad things to happen to me. Everyone desires good things. Everyone wishes for good things. Everyone wishes for a happy ending to their movies. They want to be the superstar in the movie. But most of us are living a life being an extra in our own movie. Everyone desires a good life, a good car, a good house, a good income. Even those who say, I don't want much, they want something. But those who have it are those who are willing to give, who are willing to sacrifice something. They say everything has a price. Those who are willing to earn it. And only those who are capable of earning would. Wishes does not bring anything. I mean, there's a lot of people who've been wishing and praying. Without action, nothing comes. Without action, nothing comes. If you don't open the soil and plant the seed, you will never have a harvest. It's that simple. You could hold the seed in your hand and pray and wish for 1,000 years. That seed will never germinate and grow in your hands. You have to put it under the soil, cover it with sun, and live it in a place of darkness. In a place of darkness. And that's what a lot of us are so scared to go into, the place of darkness, to sit alone, to think. Everything you believe in, everything you've been wishing for, everything you've been dreaming for, everything you've been praying for is already in you. It's already in you. If you can just look inward, if you can just look inside yourself, your ideas, successes, failures, religious, these are something you've borrowed, and now you're willing to defend them with your life. Now we've become a slave to that idea that wasn't ours in the first place. Every idea, feeling, emotions, they come from somewhere outside of you, but now it controls you from the inside. It's like your own personal set nerves. It directs you without thinking, you follow it. I say the base of every human suffering is like we create things from what we've gathered, and we now make them larger than our lives. And I heard some people say, like, if I don't have this or that, I might as well die. And that's so funny, because we've built up this thing, we made them so big that our lives now depends on them. It's like nothing is worth living for. I've heard someone say all that thing before, nothing is worth living for. And I've gone through that position before where I think if I don't get this single thing, my life is so messed up. Nothing else works. And I got to that position, I think, wow, is this all? But at least get to that position, have something to work towards. They say those who grow in life are those who have goals, those who have dreams. And why do they grow in life? Because they are constantly working towards something. Someone said sometime, like, what is happiness? What is goal? What is dream? That the constant progression, or the continuous progression, or the progressive realization, listen to that, progressive. So it's not even the destination, it's the progressive realization of an ideal goal. That you're constantly getting towards your goal. That is progress. That's happiness. That you're not just sitting in one place. Some people say that is the ultimate goal. To be constantly improving, to be constantly growing, to be constantly getting better, to be constantly innovating yourself. And how do you do this? This comes from thinking, from working in yourself. Is it through your communication skill, your capacity, your whatever you do, by working on yourself, by working on your skill. They say, how come some people rise up the ladder so fast and other people staying in one position for 10, 20, 50 years? It's because those people who rise up the ladder, they work on their skill. They work on their own skill more than they work on the job, because the job is going to be there. Some people go from job to job, but what's the capacity? What's you capable of? They say if you're doing more than you're being paid for, someday you're being paid for what you work. But if you've been paid what you want at this minute, then you don't need any promotion. No one is going to promote you. No one is going to move you up the ladder. Why? Because they're paying you enough where you are. You're not offering more than you want. In fact, sometimes they're overpaying you. So that point where you get like, oh, life is not worth living on all days. Just remember, whatever you're fighting to only exist in your life because you have life. Without those things, we'll still be who we are. Life will still carry on. There's a lot of people who make mistakes now and then, but they build an experience. For every successful person I've known, they've gone through failures, time after time, multiple times. But then they've learned from the failure. It's become part of them. Why? But why have they been able to succeed? Why have they been able to rise from the ashes? That's because they've made the decision to go on, to carry on, regardless. They've made the decision to take practice shots and after practice shots. Just like baseballers, they strike out every time, but we'll celebrate them for the home run. But without those 100 strikes out, they're never going to make that home run. They're never going to perfect the skill. So keep taking the practice shots alive. For every practice shot you hit, someone says, like in tennis, for every 100 balls you hit, you get better. For every 100 balls you hit, you get better. All you need someone just to tell you the right technique, you improve. Or every 100 ball you improve. But you would never get better just by sitting down and thinking, what if? What if? What if wishes, dream, prayers would never get you anywhere without action? without action. No one has done anything without action, just from wishing and hoping. So I'll go back to the beginning again. Every situation, every experience in life, just remember you have two choices to make. You either bottle it down and say, okay, it didn't work this time, but I'm going to go again. Or you say, that's it, I'm done, I'm jumping off the cliff. And that's where most people end. They don't literally jump off the cliff, but they give in that they never try again. Why? Because they faced failure once. They said, wow, that's it. I'm never going to try this thing again. Because I look bad, I look stupid to people. I don't want to look stupid. And that's what the issue is. Most people are scared of failure, not because of the failure itself, not because of the activity itself, not because of the action itself, but because of people's opinion, what people are going to say, how are they going to look, how they're going to feel. It's all about the feeling, not about the action itself. The action is just an action, good or bad. But it's about how you see it. It's about your perception. That's why you could have two people look at something in a gallery and see something totally different. Why? Because we have a different perspective. We stand on a different point of views. We see from different angles. Someone in the valley, their views probably obscured compared to someone on the mountain top. From you would only see from where you are. If you want to see clearer, you climb a little higher. So whatever is happening to you, it's definitely not the worst thing that's ever happened to you. The reason for that not being the worst thing that's ever happened to you is like you are where you are today, shows that every other thing that's happened to you, you're still a success. Why? Because you're here today. You are 100% success because you've overcome this other thing that's been happening to you to get you to where you are today. So if you keep focusing on the thing today, it's like it's larger than life, it's the biggest thing, it's like, oh, you can't get over this. Just remember, you've gotten over every other thing that has been happening to you up to this point. So you are a success. You are a success. You've overcome every obstacle, every ups and down, every terrible thing to be here today. That alone should inspire you to say, yeah, I will carry on because I'm not a failure. If I've overcome this and that, look at where I started from. I was reading Will Smith's book the other day, and he was saying, we all have a choice to design where we go. That where you go, wherever you go, it's up to you. It's your decision. It's your decision. Wherever you go, it's a decision. But wherever you start, that's out of your hand. You went there when the decision was made. You were born to the family you're born to, the location you're born to. Whatever you start with, you don't have a say. But wherever you end up, that's up to you. That's not up to your mom, your dad, whoever. That is up to you. Because there are people who have done better in life and have come from a worse place than you are. So wherever you end up in life, it's up to you. It's up to you to set your goal. To spend time digging deep when other people are complaining. It's up to you. That is totally up to you. Wherever you end up, it's up to you. It depends on what you think about. In Cal Newport's book, Deep Work, it says you need that time in the dark, that space to yourself, that time to like a seed. Like a seed that's like, when you sow a seed, you put it under the soil and it's covered with the soil. It's in dark place. That's where it starts germinating. You need that space in your life. You need to go to that place where you think, where you're all alone, when you have no distraction, just your mind. But look at it these days. How many of us have time to stay away from our smartphones? The phones that are now smarter than us. The phones, the GPS, the sat nav that direct our life. the notifications. How many of us are able to go 5-10 minutes without picking up our phones to watch some funny? Just we all seek distraction. We all seek distraction, and when we are all seeking distraction, that same point we're wishing and praying. But those who are climbing the 1%, they in that dark spot where they are walking, they're taking action, they're pushing, they're stretching, they're getting in the dark place. So we all seek distraction. People can hardly spend time alone with themselves. People can hardly spend time alone with themselves. I was driving the other day with a friend, like an hour or 2 hours journey. The whole 2 hour journey, he was on the phone with someone. He could nothing important to say, but he could hardly just sit still, take in the surrounding, think. He just wanted that distraction for the whole 2 hours. For the whole 2 hours, he was on the phone with someone. When that person goes, he calls someone else. He is so scared of having time to himself. And then we want to grow. Then we want to plan. Then we want to advance. Then we want to change our situation. When we're so scared of having time alone with ourselves. When we're so scared of going deep in ourselves. When we're so scared of deep diving into ourselves. Then we wish and pray and cross our fingers and hope things will change. Jim Rohn says nothing would change if you don't change. The economy will be the same. The same people around you will be the same. There will be rain. There will be sun. There will be summer. There will be winter. The economy will keep getting worse. But there's people who thrive, people who succeed, people who would always be on top. Why? Because they spend time alone. They spend time working on something. They spend time thinking. They say always trying to become the chooser and not the choice. Become the chooser and not the choice. Because why? The choice, it's a leftover. It's a leftover of what no one wants. The last to get picked into a football team, into a tennis team, into a 5-a-side, 6-a-side. You become the choice. You only trying to complete the numbers. So always strive. And how can you become the chooser? Is by working on yourself, working on your skill, improving yourself, pushing yourself further, stretching. And very few of us are willing to do that these days. Stretch ourselves. Take ourselves to a place where we are willing to give more than we're paid. Most people are complaining about not being paid enough. That most every workplace you go, there are more people complaining about not being paid enough. There are more than there are people willing to get work for not being paid. And then we won't want to go. We won't want to have enough to offer. In life gives you nothing. Life gives you nothing. Life is just a big ball rolling around. It gives you nothing. For everything you want in life, you have to put a plan in place to go and take it. Have you ever wondered why people who are you in your eye, they like the worst people, the evil, they're doing the worst thing on earth, but they are succeeding. They are living well. You're like, they don't deserve this. He's such a bad person. They don't deserve that. Such a bad person. But you're a good person in all ramification. You are stuck in one place. Nothing is working for you. You see, the reason that is action. Those people who you think the worst of the worst, scum of the earth, they're taking action. Good or bad, action moves you from A to B. The gap between where you are and where you need to be is called action. Action, steps. They are taking action. They're doing something every day. They have a plan. It might be an evil plan, but it's a plan. So you need a plan in your life. You need a plan to get you from A to B. That's all you need. People will get tired of you crying to them. And when you cry to people, there's those who want to use you, want to take advantage of you. Because that is human. You become their action now. So life is all about action. What happens, happens. What happens, happens. What happens, happens. But what are you going to do about it? They say some people build houses with the bricks thrown at them. So people are going to throw things at you. It's what you do, what's being thrown at you that count, that matters, that differentiates you from those who run and hide and complain. That is the difference. But definitely things are going to be thrown at you. What you do with it, that's what matters. What you do with it, that's what matters. That's what separates you from other people. The time with yourself, that's what separates you from other people. The time to think, that's what separates you from other people. The ideas, that's what separates you from other people. Life is not fair, you know. Some people are born with a silver spoon. Some people have more than they need. But some can barely feed. But who are you going to complain to? Or are you going to spend the rest of your life complaining about how life has treated you unfairly, how nothing is working for you? Or are you going to try and do something about it? If you've come on this earth, this planet, this life, this world with nothing, you have to scrounge. Is that what you want to pass on to your kids, to your generation, to be in the same place as you? If you've served someone, you've worked under someone for the rest of your life, do you want that same position for your children, to become a servant to that same person again, or to the person's kid? Do you want to grow a generation of takers or a generation of servants? This is really the choice you have. You can either decide, yeah, I want to carry on this generation of servants that's been handed down to me, or I want to change. I want to become the served. There's nothing wrong with being the served. You've served enough. You've paid your dues. It's time now you work on how to be served, or your kids become served. Now, time you change the paradigm. Can't spend your generation being generation of servants. If things are going to change, let it start with you. Let it start with you. Be the change. They say be the change you want to make. Be the change you want to see. Whatever you don't like, be the change. Take a step. Start there. Be the change. It's good to complain. Some people are going to listen to you and go behind your back and call you, all sorts of things. But be the change. Be he who goes harder, who goes deeper, who never gives in, who tries different 10,000 things. If nothing is working, they keep trying. Be him who makes it action, like, I don't care the outcome, I am gonna keep trying. This is me. My goal every day is to send 10 mail, is to read one book, is to go for a run, is to eat healthy. I don't care for the result. I'm gonna do this for 1 year, for 2 years, for 3 years. I don't care who's watching, I don't care who's listening, I don't care who's criticizing me, I don't care who's praising me. But all I know is my action, and I'm gonna do it. That is it. If you can set that kind of goal, that you're gonna do something regardless of the outcome, regardless of who is praising you, regardless of who's criticizing you, you are looking forward to your action and not to the result, then you're gonna start seeing a change. Every single day, I'm saying to myself now, I'm gonna send out at least 10 contacts. 10 contacts, either a book, to authors or to agent, regardless of the feedback. I'm gonna keep sending, regardless. Or I'm gonna go for. You have to make a decision. I'm gonna do this, regardless, because most time what you do, you've already made the decision to either to do or not to do. It's not actually when you've made the decision to do something before you start. To always be that person who have agreed yourself. You've overcome that. When you say go, your mind is like, wow, like before your mind realized you like 10 minutes, 20 minutes inside the action already. Set your mind to being ahead of your body. Before you decide, oh, what's happening, we are already doing it. And that's the only way to overcome. That's the only way to conquer. That's the only way to win. Because winning really starts with you, just yourself. Before you can rule the world, you have to rule yourself. You have to. Before you can do anything, you have to. You have to overcome yourself. You have to conquer yourself. Or if you can't conquer yourself, there's hardly any way you can conquer the world.